Hi everybody, my name is Jim with Full Moon Adventure Club, and today we're going to be talking about some pros and cons of taking a motorcycle as a scouting vehicle with you on your RV, so attached to the back. We're going to go over some pros and cons and different reasons why I chose the bike that I did, and some of the things that I've experienced hauling it around for about the last month and a half. So without further ado, we're going to get into all the specs on the bike and all of that good stuff. So I chose a 2009, this is a DRZ 400, it's a Suzuki. And it's got about 11,000 miles on it. When I bought it, it was around 3,500 bucks, I believe. And it's a really big bike because I'm a really big guy. I'm 6'5", about 280, so I'm a really big guy. And this is a really big bike that'll get me absolutely anywhere I need to go. So it's really not designed for anybody that's not very tall. And that's actually the reason that it was sold to me. Is because it was just a little too big for the person that had it before me. So it's a perfect bike for me, but that does make loading it and unloading it a little cumbersome because of the weight of the bike. But as far as having it for scouting and all that good stuff, it is so much fun and it comes in very handy. But we need to go into some of the pros and cons of why that's good and what's been kind of a pain during the last month. So as far as some of the pros go, of course, the reason that I got this is to have a secondary vehicle so I can leave the RV, at camp, and then actually take the motorcycle and head off and scout and check out the area, see if the RV is going to actually make it down there, see if it's RV accessible, and then also go to, see what campsites are available. I also had to use it to go into town when we had a small propane leak on the refrigerator, and I smelled a little bit of propane. I went under there, did the soapy water test, and found a small leak. And so we really loved that spot, and we had just gotten out there, and town was pretty far away, just say 30, 40 miles. And we didn't want to have to drive the RV all the way back just to fix that problem, but we couldn't use our refrigerator because we almost always run it on gas just because it's so energy efficient when we're out boondocking. So I was able to just take off the part, get on the motorcycle, go to town, get some supplies, get that fixed, get the part made, come back and install it, and that was very, very handy. You can also use it to go into town to get groceries. If you take a backpack, you can get a few things that you need while you're in town, which is great. And if there's any kind of emergency where the RV broke down, I'd be able to get to town to see what's going on. I also have Good Sam and stuff like that, but if you don't have service, you can at least get into town to check stuff out. So that's another great reason to have it, and one of the many reasons that I bought it. And also it's just a ton of fun to ride around. I haven't had a motorcycle since I was a little kid, but it comes right back to you, and I've just had so much fun cruising around. I actually took it on the beaches at Long Beach in Washington, and actually cruised along the beach with no one else around, and that was just amazing. I've driven it all over Mount St. Helens, which was so much fun. And then now here at Mount Hood, I used it to do some scouting and even go gather some firewood that I saw laying around at other campsites. And so those are all really, really big pluses. I love this thing for all those reasons. Now let's talk about some of the reasons that I'm not too crazy about it. First of all, just having the motorcycle on the back adds a little bit of stress while you're driving around, just like anything else. If you have kayaks on the roof or attached to the back, I have this big motorcycle in the back that's hard to see. I can kind of see with my backup camera while I'm driving, and that's why I rigged my backup camera to turn on with a switch rather than when it's put in reverse, because I can turn it on and just see that the bike's not dragging behind me on the freeway. And of course, if you just strap it all down correctly, everything should be fine, but it just makes me nervous. Anytime someone comes up and they flash or say hey, maybe it was just my covers coming loose, but I always think the worst, that maybe the motorcycle's, gonna come off. How good is that, the carrier that I got, which is, I believe, a Black Widow motorcycle rack that sits on the back. And so I'm always wondering, as long as that's gonna hold up, as long as that's good, everything should be fine, but it's a little added stress. Another con is gonna be that it's gonna add about 3 feet to the back of your RV. And with mine being already a 28-foot Class C, that rear end tends to drag sometimes. If you hit a downward angle and you come straight or go up like a dip, sometimes you'll drag your rear bumper a little bit. And when you add 3 more feet to that, you're gonna drag even more. So we've dragged it a couple of times, but nothing too serious. Still going just fine, but it does make you a little bit longer, so you can keep that in mind as well. Also the added weight, that bike's pretty heavy. I'm not exactly sure how much that weighs, but I believe it's around 300 pounds. And that adds a lot of weight to the rear of your RV, and it's gonna affect your gas mileage and stuff like that. So there's those things as well. And as far as using it for a scouting vehicle, which you really wanna be able to use it for, mosquitoes are crazy out here, is you wanna be able to just pull in somewhere next to a forest road, pull off your motorcycle, run all over the forest road and see if it's RV accessible and see if there's any spots available, and then come back, put it on the RV and go into your spot. But that takes some time. This is one of the most least graceful times I've ever taken it off, but I filmed it and that's fine. You can see me bump my head and it always falls off the ramp and different things. But I'm gonna put that video up for you so you can just kind of see how long it takes to take the thing off and then reverse all of that stuff in your head to put it all back on. So that's kind of the process, and it takes a while, maybe 20 to 30 minutes. I've got two chains. Well, I've got one big long chain and two locks, so I can lock it in two different points in loops. And then I also have a very cool little cable lock alarm, and it's actually Bluetooth. And so it will sound a siren if the battery compartment is messed with. If it's jiggled too much, you can turn that on or off. Or if anyone cuts the cable, it will sound a loud siren. So at least if we're asleep or something, we have the chance to wake up and keep it from being stolen. And that's another thing that's kind of a con, is just always knowing that it's back there and being worried about it being stolen. Kind of keeps you up when you're staying in an RV park. One time we was just kind of backed to a really busy street in the back area, you know, just sticking out. There wasn't a fence or anything around us, so anybody could just come by and throw it in the back of the truck and take off. But they'd have to get the straps off, the chain with the two locks, and then that cable lock with the alarm system. But putting all that stuff on and taking it all off definitely adds to your time using the motorcycle for simple scouting trips. So it's not quite as simple as you would think, and you may want to get a smaller little pit bike kind of a motorcycle that's easier for you to manage getting on and off, because it can be kind of a thing. I have to tilt mine to the side when I get it off, as you saw in the video, and that tends to knock the ramp off, which I've since solved with just running a tow strap around it a bunch of times, and then it kind of holds it in place. But it's not as easy as you think it is. Just, I'll pull it off, scout it out, come back, throw it on and drive in. It costs you about an hour to take it on and put it off. So that's kind of a thing as well. But all in all, this is absolutely a great thing to have on the back. It's so much fun for me, and I love using it, driving it around the lake and scouting spots and all kinds of fun stuff, just riding it for hours on end. And if you do need it to go into town for parts and stuff like that, it's come in handy 100 times. And I just have a backpack, and so I can go in and get some milk, or I can get some beer, or I can get parts that I need for supplies or anything like that very easily without having to uproot the entire campsite. You could get a cargo rack on the back for carrying gas and other things like that. Maybe you can go get some water or gas and bring it back to extend your stay a little bit, but I don't have mine equipped for that quite yet. But so far, absolutely loving it, and it's been a really, really cool addition to the RV, and I highly recommend it. But I wanted to throw out all the stuff that comes with it, which is mostly just me being stressed out about it getting stolen or being back there. And I do have it insured and registered and all that good stuff, and it is covered for theft. So I shouldn't worry so much, but I do. And I also worry about me strapping it wrong, or a strap failing and it falling off on the freeway. But other than that, it's absolutely great, and we've been using it a ton with thousands of miles and no problems at all. So if it's something you're thinking about, maybe you can make a more informed decision about whether or not you want to do that. I'm absolutely loving it, and I'm probably going to keep it with my RV forever, and it's always going to come with me because it's been so much fun. But I hope that helps you out. If it does, please like, share, subscribe. That really helps me out. My name is Jim with Full Moon Adventure Club, and until the next video, thank you so much for watching, and happy camping.